Hey, what's up, YouTube? So, I got this 91 Accord, and basically, the complaint was it won't start. And if you try to start it, it'll just fire for like a fraction of a second, like it's gonna start, and then it'll cut off. And so I started looking at it, and one of the things I like to do for starter cars, I like to put it in just the last position on the ignition before you turn it on, and then I get the seatbelt thing off me here. Then I wait till the fuel pump primes up, and then I'll fire it up that way. So if I try to turn this, whoops, and I go to the last position before starting it, my check engine light doesn't come on. And, whoa, sorry, that check engine light doesn't come on, so that tells me that something's wrong with this ignition switch. So first thing I did is actually I checked the battery first, and it was okay. And then I went in here to try to do this, and I noticed that right away. So I was like, well, you need to go very much further, because if you can't turn on your starter to the position where your check engine light comes on and you wait for your fuel pump to fire up, there's something going on with the ignition switch here on the side there. Sorry for the lighting, got kind of dark on me and I had to charge my battery. So the next thing I'm going to do, I'll just show you what I'm going to work on next. Is I already pulled off the cover here, and I'll show you where that goes. It just goes, I'm down along the side here. If we go under here, back in here, this one way back here, there's a, boy, the darn wires in the way. Back there where the yellow wire is, and the thick ones, I'm going to unplug that because that goes up to the ignition switch, and then we're going to test that out, and I'll show you when I get to that part. And so I'm probably going to have to fight with this a little bit, but basically there's a tab right there. You just push in that tab and pull out the ignition switch. And there's two parts to this ignition switch. There's the part you put your key in, it's over here, and on the back side, which I'd have to take off the screws, but right in this area is going to be the back side of that wire I showed you there. Those wires lead up to there. And so when you turn, the key mechanism controls kind of like the security aspect of it, and really what you're doing is turning a switch on this side. And I'll show you this as I go along. But that's all I'm going to do for now, because it's getting a little bit dark, and I'll pick this up when I get that connector disconnected and show you how I'm going to test that out. Alright, picking up where I left off. All I did was disconnect that brown cable I showed you, and if you look in the end here, you can see that there's a couple blank spots in the corner here and there, and the rest of the cables are pinned out. And then what I did is, that just came out from right back there, way in the back there. And what I did is I got myself a little sheet, and it's probably not showing up, but I drew out the kind of like the pinouts of what should happen. And then you just put your, on my cheat sheet here, you just put your ignition switch into the different positions, and it tells you which pins are supposed to connect. And so kind of the biggie is your battery, which I'll show you. Let's see, the battery was the white lead in the corner, and so it's a big thick white one. Oops, get back a little bit here. Should be this big thick white one. And so I just put my red probe in there because red kind of reminded me of battery, and then I'd probe around the different pins, and I put it in the position 1 as a key. On your ignition switch over here, there's different key positions, 1, 2, and 3, and kind of like start. I believe 3 is considered start. So basically on your cheat sheet, what it was showing was when you first go to 1, you should only have a connection between your AC and your battery. And when you go to 2, everything except for your starter is engaged. And then when you hit the 3, your starter is engaged, and ironically your ACC is off. And so basically, long story short, I just take my voltmeter right here, got my probes, and just put them in the ends of the connector down there, and just went probing around through the different selections. And so pretty much all that did was tell me that my switch didn't work. it only worked for some of the pins and not all the ones, and I couldn't get it to engage in the starter position anymore. So that kind of tells me that this is indeed the switch is bad inside the steering column up here. And so I ordered another one of those, and I'm waiting for it to come in. Hopefully it'll come in tomorrow. And be kind of interesting. I'm going to play around with it because I got the wire there. After I get it working, I'll play around with it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to plug the new one in. Actually, I'll probe it out to make sure it works. I don't even have to hook it up. I'll just use my ohm meter, switch it to the different positions, 1, 2, and 3, and make sure it is working. And then I'll just plug it in to where that brown one went, and put the key in. So, well, I don't even have to put the key in because all the key does at this point is lock or unlock the steering wheel. So I'll see if I can start the car with the new switch, just by plugging the new switch where that one went, and manually trying to activate it that way. Anyway, so I'll keep updating you as I go along. Alright, I got a little more light this time. All I've done so far is taken out the screws out of the bottom of this cover here. I don't know if it was stock or not. The only screw that was different was the far back one. It was kind of that pointy one over there, right here. But I don't know if that is supposed to be like that or not. Anyways, so I took all these out, and you can lower this arm to let your column go up or down. And that'll allow me to take this off here and gain access to that switch there. So all I'm going to do now is get that cover off. I should be able to just lower this and lift it off. Yeah, there we go. So next I'm going to try to take these 2 screws out, and that should take off my starter switch. Alright, so far, actually the hardest part of the job so far has been getting these little screws out, and I'll show you where they went. And they have a Phillips screwdriver on one end, or in there you can try to use, and then, you know, like a hex head, so you can use the socket. And I had to get a little 1/4-inch set with a swivel, and I'll show you why. So over here, here's where the screws was. You can pull your lever down and gain access to this bottom one with just like a long screwdriver. But this top one, even with a small screwdriver, you can't really get it in there. At least I couldn't. It was very difficult. So I just got my swivel set up and got in there and was able to get it out like that. So all I did is take those 2 screws out, and there it is. So when you turn your ignition, you're just sorry about this all weird angle stuff. You're just turning that deal there. It's like a half circle with a piece coming out, and that just plugs right in there. And so that's what actually happens when you turn your key. There's like a zip tie. I can just see right there. I don't know if it's showing it right there. So I'm probably gonna have to cut that stuff off and see how much. Here's the other end of the cord, so I just got to get that all out, and it's probably all zip tied up in there. So we're ready to go there. Well, now that I got this all apart, I'm starting to wonder whether or not that switch is really good, because it turns pretty easy. What you do is you put your here, I'll show you the end here. There's the way it's slid, you can get a Phillips screwdriver in there, and it locks right in, and you can turn it left or right the way you need it. And it was switching very easily, which when I was testing the key out on the other side, it wasn't switching easy. And if I put the key in there from that other side, it's all kind of not switching well. So I think what was going on is this is probably working, and it's the lock cylinder that's just kind of messed up and not holding position anymore. So I'm going to test this out, and I'll show you how I tested it. I kind of skipped over this. When you're looking at this switch, the Honda manual is diagrammed out from this position, even though it's easier to probe in from this. So looking at my drawing here, the battery is in the upper corner here, and the ACC is on the lower corner. And in position 0, which I kind of drew up there because that means you're all the way off, you know, of course nothing's connected. So you put your 1 lead, and I choose the positive because that just reminds me it's the battery. I put the positive lead into the battery clip, which again is this upper corner one. And then, for instance, if I'm going to test position 1 and 2 and 3, I put my next probe in the AC, which then again is this bottom opposite corner, and then I'll cycle through all these positions and see if that's working. And then I'll put it in the next one, IG1, do the same process, IG2, and the starter position, same process. So I'll show you how I'm going to do that. So right now, see there's that battery in the upper right hand, the lower left hand's ACC. I got my meter on continuity, and so I'm just going to push this in here. And then now if I turn this to the first position, there, I got that going there, and it says when I go to the second position it should stay connected, and it does. It's just kind of squealing a little bit. And then if I go to the third position, well, if I twist it, it's kind of hard to do one-handed. To start, that's your start, and then slap back, you heard it go off. So it goes infinite, and I let go, and it goes back. So that switch is working really good, at least for the AC setting. So I'm just going to do that procedure for the other settings, and I'll tell you how it turns out. But it's looking like that switch is going to be good. Well, I don't know if it's lucky or not, but testing it out, even though it felt like it worked and the ACC switch is working correctly, my igniter 1 and igniter 2 were not functioning correctly. And just in case you're wondering, most people won't have this split in. I guess this car was probably it was in a used car that one time, and they put some kind of security thing in there, which I'll cut out, because when I get my new wire harness, I won't have to worry about this. So that's too bad. I was kind of hoping this was good, but I got one on order, so I just got to go pick it up. So it felt good, and I'll take this apart on my own. I probably won't show it. And I bet you it's all arced out in there. If it comes apart easy, I'll show you what it looks like inside. Here's what the inside looks like. Actually, doesn't look too bad. It's got a little carbon on it. Oops. Here's the other side. It's got little ball bearings on the ends, kind of make it get that clicking sound. It's got a little carbon in there and a little spring inside here. Actually, it looks like I could probably clean it up and get it working. Probably just got arced a little bit in there and got carbon buildup on the contact. So I might clean that up, see if I can get it working, because aftermarket stuff, the quality of the gauge of wire on this and the soldering and everything, it's really well. So I think it might be worth it just to clean it up and see if it works. Then I'll put it back together. So I made a mistake, and it kind of showed up when I got my new switch and I tested it out, and it's like, hey, this isn't working. So this is the book I drew my diagrams from. Hopefully that's showing up on camera there. And this part was correct, but right here I didn't see that there was a gap right there. And so when I got my new switch, if you look back and see the paper, it had a circle there. Well, there's not supposed to be a circle there, so I couldn't figure out what the heck was going on with this. So I came back in, checked it out. Sure enough, the new one was working correctly. And then I was worried that maybe my old one was working correctly and I had it wrong, but I checked it out and it was still kind of messed up. So I just want to point this out in case you're using my paper. It's wrong, and this is actually the OEM book, so that's how it's supposed to be. Anyhow, that being said, it's working now, and I'll cut over to the car and show you. Okay, I got to do this shot quick because it's raining and getting my camera all wet. And hopefully I won't step in front of this. Let me get the camera over there as much as I can. All I did is I plugged in the new connector down there, and then I'm going to take a screwdriver and run this through the positions. The car's in park. Of course, I left my good screwdriver inside. I'll use this one here. And you don't want to touch the back of the wire. You get pretty hard. So I'm just going to cycle through it. And I don't know if you can see that. You can't see the dash, but it's off right now. Gas lights just went on. I can hear the fan. I can see my check engine light, and then I go for start. There, it's running. So then I'm going to turn it off and then switch it back all the way to the left to make sure I got there. So it's working. So I just got to wire it up. I got to get out of the rain before my gear gets all wet, but I just thought I'd show you that. I'll be back in a little bit. Okay, here we go. All I did was set the ignition switch key on the other side all the way to the off position, and then line this up, and then I tested it out. Here, I'll put the screws back in, Let's see, there's what the dash should look like. It fires up now. So, there you go. All I gotta do is put that plastic cover on there and I'll be good to go. And one nice thing is I didn't have to take the steering wheel off to do this. The manual said to take the steering wheel off first, but there's not really a need to do that. You get plenty of access. You just use this lever so you can move this up and down, and also get access to your screws by moving this lever out of the way. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you liked it, hit like, and if you want to see more when they come out, just subscribe and you'll see them as they come out. And thank you for watching. Hey, I want to give you some quick tips on putting your console back together. First of all, you want to watch this gasket. It's got a little lip. The plastic's got to go in there. And get down here, under here, this bolt here, or screw, and this screw here, those are the short machine screws. And right here and right here are the long pointy ones. And what you want to do is put this bottom piece on first. Put the 3 short machine screws in, but not all the way in. Leave them a little bit loose so you have a little bit of play here. And then drop your steering wheel down. Oh, it's down all the way already. And then work on putting your top cover on. And when you get it finally snapped in, which it should be nice and snapped in, seams like this is what's going to fight you, is getting that nice seam. When you finally get the top part in, snapped in, then you can put the long pointed screws in there, and they'll grab in. Oh, is it right there? Might have been right here. It'll grab into the plastic for you. So it'll make sense when you look at the top cover. There's only 2 places for those pointed screws to screw into on the top cover, and the rest of the machine screws on the bottom. So anyway, so that was a little bit trickier, and I thought getting that back together. And then we might need some zip ties to get the cords out of the way, and so hopefully that'll help you put the that bottom console back on for you. Anyways, good luck there.